with, I still have clothes in my closet that have polyester, and I started a clothing company that doesn't touch plastics. Like that's I hope I dream for the day, and I know there's going to be a day where I don't have any more polyester in my closet, but I just haven't gotten there yet. It's only been, a year or two since I started, and we still don't make everything yet. Like we will, we're going to make underwear, we're going to make shorts, we're going to make, workout sets for girls, biker shorts and leggings and sports bras, but we just haven't yet, and so that hasn't changed by any means.
That's the next step. I know we talked about that a while ago. Like the next step is more like women's kind of like women's gear.
Yeah. Yeah, that's definitely the next step is to make those workout sets, working with our, manufacturing and, fabric blends to make that better, feel. And I think we were talking about this too, like it's going to be really difficult, the R&D on these, just to make it the highest quality at a good price point, but also it's going to be impossible to perfectly mimic or mock the way a polyester feels. That synthetic, stretchy, like legging feel that's like um we're gonna do our best, but it's gonna be different. And that's we're gonna try to make it better, but it's gonna be different just because natural fabrics don't behave the same way as a synthetic one. So that's just kind of the way it goes. And another thing would be I would love to do like a board short, like a swimsuit, because those are all plastic too, unfortunately. But the feel, the water, basically like the non-absorption properties of the plastics, like on board shorts and things like that, which I still wear almost daily when I go out in the water. And so I'd love to get some that are natural, but you know, better than just like a cotton or a wool short because that's just gonna weigh you down in the water, and that doesn't feel good when you're surfing or swimming or, you know.
Yeah. No, I'm glad you mentioned that. Have you heard of this brand? It's called Alex Crane.
I have heard of them, yeah.
Yeah. So the reason I mentioned it is because I got a bathing suit from them. I'm gonna butcher what it's made out of. I should look it up. It's made out of like the banana plant, and it's not like banana peel. It's not like I don't think it's that. But
Yeah.
I at a certain point I was so extreme with it, and again I'm kind of in this process of like weaning off of being as extreme because it it became more of an anxiety as you mentioned than or it became like it was stressing me out more than it should have. What would like is just out of curiosity, what would you make it out of? Have you looked into
It's a
that?
good question. Yeah, so we've been dabbling with a couple different blends of fabrics. We were messing around with a couple others, but we don't think we're going to move forward with a lot of them just because of some of the ways that they're manufactured and processed is actually pretty harmful for the environment, but also just like it goes through a pretty heavy chemical process to be made, some of the fabrics. So, for example, a lot of bamboo fabrics, some hemp, um, and then a modal, which is like a wood fiber that they kind of like pulverize and turn into like a fabric, which the modal one I was excited for because we had some blends of some shirts that were way more athletic feeling. We did them with like a blend with cotton and modal, and it was like stretchy and lightweight and breathable. But we haven't moved forward with it just because of some of the things I've been finding out about modal and just how it's a lot toxic, but not quite as toxic, obviously, as polyester and these other things. So it's just trying to find that blend of, do we want to move forward with that? Is that aligning with what we want to do? So we still haven't. But for example, yeah, I'd love to look that up. I actually have heard of those board shorts by Alex Crane. I didn't realize that was the brand. And I want to say they trademarked that fabric blend themselves, and I think they call it like Banana Tex or something interesting. I'd be really interested to see how it's actually made. Um, but yeah, it's super interesting to see that there is like some more natural alternatives that's not polyester, or
That
nylon.
Yeah, I think that's another interesting point that you brought up, like the manufacturing process. Because like at least me, for example, like I'm looking at it more surface level. Like I'm like, oh, it's made out of this, it's gonna be okay. I'm not looking at how it's made, and I think the process of how it's made is something a lot of people overlook.
Yeah, yeah. A lot of people, it's a deeper level. It's not on the surface. People aren't going to think about that as much.
Yeah.
Um, yeah, I definitely didn't think about it until I started to, dabble with this and start creating products and um, business around it. So it's a lot more in my, mind because of that.
Yeah.
So, I mean, there is that level too of, you know, how deep do you want to go, with sourcing and with all these things. And so there's the hierarchy, good, better, best. So it's try to figure out where you can lie, where it's better options, best options, still good options, right? And so I think that's like another place to start with non-toxic, right? Start with the good, then you can go better, then you can go best. Take your time with it. It's a journey. Like I still am on this journey, even though I've, been in and out. There's ebbs and flows, there's seasons, there's all these things where, you are a little bit more regimented. You are focusing on some more specifics, taking that to the next step from good to better and then better to best when it comes to water filtration or Tupperware or clothing or, a big one uh like body care products. That's a huge one I think that we could talk about. Fragrances, get rid of those.
Yeah. What's that look like for you? Like, have you eliminated all like the fragrances and stuff?
Yeah, totally. Yeah, I mean, junior high was Axe body spray up the wazoo. Like you look in my room and it was, man, probably stank. I don't even know. I don't use any of that anymore. And it's interesting. I've been seeing a couple other people's kind of anecdotal experiences on like social media or things where they'll say like once you stop using a lot of these fragrances, you're a lot more sensitive to them. You don't realize how strong they are because they're everywhere, right? I always had a car air freshener, in my air conditioning vent or hanging from my rearview mirror. I don't do that anymore. I use, clean deodorant. I don't use cologne or anything like that. I never really I mean, after a workout, I'll get told I smell, but I don't really get told I smell very often. It's not, I think a lot of that comes from the inside out too. It's like your body getting rid of some toxins. So if you're putting good fuel in and taking care of yourself on that avenue, I think you have a lot of those bases covered as well, like with detoxing and not smelling and stuff like that too.
Yeah.
Um, but yeah, I use a lot of natural products when it comes to body care and hair care and stuff like that. A lot, I mean, I don't specifically do this, but a lot of it is like if I wouldn't really put it in my body, why would I want to put it on my body? So I've heard a lot of people say that, like I'll use, coconut oil as like a moisturizer and things like that from time to time, or like oil pulling or, clean toothpaste from very good brands, things like that.
Can we kind of talk about some of the swaps just for like a few minutes? Like, so I'm gonna name like three things, and then give me a few swaps just so that people um kind of know what you're using and for myself as well. Classic like soap, body soap for like the shower sort of thing. How like what do you go with?
Yeah, that's a great question. I have a box of I get these at Costco. It's a good brand, Dr. Bronner. I don't know if you're familiar.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Dr.
Yeah, so I
Braun.
use I use this stuff. Um, this stuff right here. So
Love it.
it's Castile soap. It's used with like essential oils and like I'm pretty sure it has like coconut oil. Um, yeah. I mean they use like this one's like peppermint with the essential oils. They use different scents and stuff like that. They're not super strong smelling, but I don't feel like it really needs to be. I always feel really clean after I use it. A nice thing living close to the ocean too is like getting in the ocean frequently, as long as it's not like, you know, after a rainy day or something like that. Like that's pretty, hydrating, mineralizing and cleansing. So it's actually really good for you. But that's a soap I would use. I used to use probably like Old Spice, like not an actual bar soap, but like what is it? Like I don't I don't know how to describe it. You know what I'm
No, I
trying to say?
mean,
Like
yeah, like
the
yeah, the
the
liquid soap.
liquid. Yeah.
Yeah. So next
Just
question.
watch out for fragrances. I'd say a big one, soaps, fragrances is a big one. If it's not scented with like essential oils or natural like vanilla or something like that, like it's probably not going to be great for you. Just because of the like phthalates and things like that that can be disruptive.
How about cologne? You don't use cologne, so
I don't use cologne.
do you use essential oils to smell
I,
good?
I could. I just don't. I don't. use anything.
I was just curious. Yeah.
So yeah, I don't use anything. I use deodorant that's like no heavy metals, no aluminum, nothing like that. It's just essential oil. I think it's like a rosemary lavender one or something like that. I don't know.
Yeah. So this is going to be another kind of specific. So toothbrush. So toothbrushes are
Mhm.
plastic. Do you use a specific toothbrush? Or,
Yeah, I use a bamboo toothbrush with whatever the bristles are like. They're
or
not plastic. Yeah, boar bristles. Yeah.
that's awesome.
Yeah,
Yeah.
there's t so many brands out there of those. Like they're not hard to find anymore. They're cheap. Like I got a huge box of them on Amazon for not much.
Yeah. No, it's so interesting because like once you go, you go down the rabbit hole, you can there's so many different alternatives for whatever it is. Like, but I wanted to ask you, this is a little bit separate,
Yeah.
but EMFs,
Oh
you
yeah.
familiar with them, right?
Yep. I'd love to talk about EMFs. I'd love to talk about lights too.
Yeah.
Light diet as well. That's something that I've been not like diving into, but I've been paying a lot more close attention to. Um,
What's a
I think
light bulb?
that's it's all input of light into you. Like so sunlight, overhead light, phone light, laptop light. I'm getting light from this light bulb right here. I'm getting light from my laptop right here, which is not great right now, but it's also 10:45 in the morning, so it's not the worst for me right now. But things like that. If you're working on your computer all day, if you're in your office all day, if you're in your car all day, if you're in your home all day. So we could, you want to talk about that right now, or you want to talk about the EMFs first?
Let's dive into the EMFs because I was kind of curious about that, and then we can kind of get to we can get to the light.
Yeah.
What I guess let's start on a very surface level. What is an EMF? EMF stands for electric magnetic frequency,
Yeah.
and EMF is essentially a I may butcher it because I'm not exactly familiar with what it is, but it's kind of like a frequency or like a wavelength that
Hmm.
um different things like our cell phones, laptops, tons of different things are releasing them, and
Yeah.
they're affecting brain function and different things like that. I'll let you kind of continue to preface it because I know what it is. Try to avoid them to what I can, but yeah, jump in, see like give our audience a little bit more of a rundown of what they are, and then how you avoid them.
Yeah, that's a great question. Um, you can't avoid them. I
Yeah.
mean, you can try to limit them, but they're everywhere. They're not visible, right? It's all the Wi-Fi signals now, the Bluetooth signals, AirPods over the air, like Bluetooth headphones. I use wired all day, every day. That's all I do. I had AirPods for maybe a year or two before I realized that they're probably not the best. Apple has warnings on their phones and on AirPods and things like that, that are not super outspoken. Like they're not super known. Like the phones, for example, like it's like do not place in direct contact with your body. It's like, but we're putting it up to our head to take a phone call. Like if I have my phone and I don't have my headphones, I'll just take it on speaker, if I can. Very, very rarely will I put it up to my ear. It's not even like I'm not trying to be fear mongering, right? Like we said, like I'm not trying to say like it's gonna kill you. Um, there have been studies that, girls that put them in their bra, incidences of tumors in that breast for breast cancer and things like that. Now, obviously, there's ways to detox these things that it's not just the phone. There's probably things with their diet, their environment, other things that probably led to that, whatever. Um, but like just being somewhat aware and trying to limit your exposure to them. You're never going to be able to cut them all out. But like you said, they're everywhere. So, Wi-Fi signals, Bluetooth signals, don't use, eh, for me with AirPods, I would wear them for a full day and I would get headaches. I
Mm.
don't know if it was the AirPods. Anecdotally, I stopped using them. I also changed up a lot of other things. I don't really get headaches anymore. Like I used to get headaches pretty frequently. Like I don't really get those anymore. I'm a lot more hydrated. I'm eating a lot more clean. I'm not having probably blood sugars and crashes and spikes like I was. I don't know exactly what it was, but when I stopped using the AirPods, I noticed like I wouldn't get those headaches after I would wear them all day. Um, but for me, it just like intuitively made sense. Like if I put an AirPod here and an AirPod here, there's a signal going from my phone to them, and there's a signal going across my head on the inside to each other to give me a song, an odd podcast, whatever it is. And to me, I was just like, wait, you know, these are new. This is all really new technology. All of this came out, you know, in the last 20 years, pretty much. Like for us to be constantly bombarded by a lot of this stuff, Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, and these devices. It's part of everyday life. It's part of work, working remotely, you have to use it, like computer, things like that. But realizing like, it took a while for people to realize cigarettes were super bad. It took a while for people to realize like all these things were not great for us. And so just knowing like, okay, maybe watch your exposure to them. For me personally, like I've heard of people using like Faraday cages and EMF blocking. I have one of those I think it's called Defender Shield, something Shield brand. I have like a fanny pack that I'll put my phone in most of the time when I'm out and about. But it's also just nice to have it to put my wallet in and my keys and other things, and it's not even like I'm doing it specifically for the EMF blocking, but like I bought that brand because it does.
Hmm.
I'd love to do EMF blocking in the pockets of our shorts when we come out with them pretty soon. You can line them with like copper and things like that will help. So that's Healthware in the future. Stay tuned. Um, but specifically with them, it's just like if we're constantly bombarded with them and you don't feel good, it could be a limit, right? And so for me, I don't like turn off my Wi-Fi at night. I have roommates, and so that wouldn't be cool for me to do that. We
Yeah.
share the Wi-Fi, they'd probably be pissed. They're probably on there playing video games, doing whatever. Like I don't, whatever. But I don't sleep with my phone next to my head. I put it across the room. I don't put my laptop on my lap. I don't put my phone in my front pockets. I'll use my back pocket if I'm out and about. Just trying to do little things to limit that exposure because it is always there. And so it's like if you can take those little steps to limit it, it's best. For me, I know that I get outside and I get in the ocean and I get grounded daily, and that's really helpful
Yeah.
to get rid of some of those things. And so that I am also like confident in that in myself. Like I know when I go on vacation and it's cold and I'm not getting outside as much, I'm like, okay, I'm a little bit more conscious of some of these things because it can really build up.
Yeah.
Is that a good description? Good.
Yeah, no, that's
What do you
perfect.
do?
It's interesting. Someone actually asked me that today on Instagram. Someone DM me and they were like, what do you do about EMFs? And I was like, I was actually like reflecting on that a little bit today. And the only thing I really do, I mean, like, or a few things, I guess. And I'll tell you what I told her. So I throw my phone on airplane mode as if I remember at night. I'm not like every night, 8 p.m. sort of thing.
Yeah.
On airplane mode whenever I remember. So I know I mean, I hope that helps. I think I've heard it
Yeah.
helps. I don't know if it
Yeah.
does. Um, Another thing is same with you. I don't do this, I do a lot of my calls on speakerphone. I don't throw it up to my ear just to, avoid that. 'Cause it's so interesting when, I mean, I don't want to go on a tangent here, but I took a class in college and they were like, it was earth science. We were learning about radiation and EMS from phones. This is before I was really into this stuff. And she's
Wow.
telling me about the studies, or she's telling our class about studies about, the effect that phones can have on your body, especially when it's like, this part of your screen is facing your skin. So she's like, turn it away from your body. So like, little things like that I do too. Like, I mean, make sure my camera's facing me rather than the screen. And that's
Mhm.
just like a few little things that I do. I mean, have you seen those necklaces that people
I've
wear?
seen those. Yeah, I've seen them.
What do you
I
think?
don't I don't know. I don't know. I don't know the science behind them. I mean, I understand what they're explaining with it. I don't know though if it's
Yeah.
legit or not. It's kind of reminding me of shoot, I don't know if you grew up around this or knew any of this. I did. I played baseball growing up, little league and club baseball. And all the pros and like you'd go to Dick's Sporting Goods and they'd have those titanium necklaces. Do you ever see those with a little
Yeah,
clip?
yeah,
Do you know what
yeah.
I'm talking about?
Hmm.
I used to have like three of those because I thought they were the coolest things ever. And apparently the titanium was supposed to help with like exercise performance or something. And
Oh,
it was this claim that they made, and I don't know. I think it got debunked. They're not very popular anymore. Maybe you see some baseball players wearing them now. I don't know. Um, but yeah, it kind of reminds me of that a little bit, where it's like, is it snake oil? I don't know. Like,
Yeah.
I have seen the ones that you like clip on your phone or you like stick on your phone. It's supposed to help as well. I'd be curious to see. Um, I've been seeing some of those brands like working with like big companies and like athletes and stuff to help like some UFC fighters and stuff. So I'd be interested to look a little bit more into it. I'm not gonna lie, I looked into some of the ones that you can like stick on your laptop and on your phone.
Yeah.
Um, but they also make those necklaces, but I don't know.
Do you have one of the ones that sticks on your phone?
I don't know. I was looking at them though, like probably this week or last about like, oh, should I get one?
Yeah, it's tempting. I mean, they're kind of cool. It's almost like it's one of those things. I believe it probably has an effect. How much of an effect does it really have? And it kind of comes down to that perfection thing. Like, also, I'd rather, you know, maybe spend a little bit extra money on higher quality groceries. Like that was another
I
thing,
think, yeah.
like that's you pick and choose your battles. So I mean,
I
that's
think you just nailed that right there. If you have disposable income and you can get one, try it. But if you don't,
yeah,
buy the better quality groceries. Like don't take money out of your groceries to go get that. I think
yeah,
that's like key for all these things. Supplements, like I take a good amount of supplements right now. I used to take more when I was like really specific about my health and trying to fix myself. But now it's like, no, like if you do have the disposable income, you could take the supplements, but you got to go get the groceries first. Go get all these other things first, right?
glass containers, get high quality
Yeah,
water.
yeah,
Yeah.
exactly.
What supplements do you take?
Creatine. I take creatine every single day. I actually have been exploring uh with higher doses per day, and recently because it's like what 3 to 5 grams usually the cadence they say
Yeah.
per day is about what you need. But with those that exercise more frequently, more intensely, and also just have a higher body mass, like I'm just a bigger guy. Um, I think a higher dose for me has been more beneficial. I feel stronger. I feel like I see more of the cognitive benefit that is there. I've been taking it for so long now that I'm like, I don't know if I notice it daily until I increased my dose. Then I did feel like a little bit of an increase, a little bit. But I'd be interested to see if I went off of it for an amount of time, like how much different I would feel. I know it's just like all the research is just out there now that it's good. Just take
Oh
it.
yeah.
Like I'm like, if we can figure out a way to get more females to take it, it'd be really good. And then also like older females as they're, aging and going through their hormonal changes and, all the problems that come with, osteoporosis and muscle loss and aging and stuff like that. So creatine, I take creatine. I think everyone should. Well, actually, sorry. I don't think everyone should because that's too strong of a. If you have kidney issues or disease, obviously don't take creatine. Talk to your doctor if things like that. Those disclaimers. Speak of the podcast.
Yeah, I'm glad you mentioned that. That's definitely important. Yeah. Yeah. How much creatine do you take? So
I take probably like 10 grams a day. It's like two
yeah.
scoops.
Okay, so you just
Yeah.
double
I just pretty much double it, which now is like, oh, now I got to spend twice as much on creatine. But I actually do feel like it's been helping. It's been worth it.
Yeah, I was on and off of it for a while. I'm not taking any supplements now. I've been doing a lot of blood work trying to figure stuff out, but
Oh, good.
yeah, creatine's real. Like that's one of those supplements that I know that has an effect. What
Okay.
brand, out of curiosity, do you use?
Right now I've been taking the Thorn brand.
Hmm. I've
Could
I've
plug
seen.
them. I From what I've understood, it's like if it's a reputable brand, it's the cheapest supplement out there. And so like just creatine monohydrate, you don't need to get anything fancy. I don't really think the gummies are a good option right now. They've been finding like it's pretty hard to get a specific amount of creatine in every gummy. And so like they'll test gummies and some of them have none, some of them have more.
Mhm.
Plus there's just like added sugars and stuff. So like you don't really need that. Just like add it to your water, add to your protein shake, and then you're good.
Yeah.
Protein powder. I take protein powder if you count that as a supplement. Um, I take magnesium.
Hmm.
Helps with sleep. I take it in the end of the day. And then I take like just cyclical supplements here and there, some like adaptogens time to time to based off feel.
Hmm.
Try not to try not to get, I used to be like, man, I have to take my magnesium at 8 p.m. with ashwagandha every other day or whatever it was. Like I was so strict and it got anxiety producing because I was like, man, if I don't take it, I'm not going to sleep good. If I don't take it, I'm not going to have energy through the day. Um, but I think that's what really like got to me too much. And it's
Mhm.
just like a waste of money. Like it's just extra. Like if you do have the disposable income, it can give you an extra ledge. Like every once in a while I'll take, beta alanine before a workout. It helps boost my workout performance. Like I'll take caffeine, in the mornings, whether that be, whatever source, like obviously a good source. But so those are supplements. I don't know. What other questions? What
Yeah, no, I was
what
just
did you
curious.
used to take? And you just stopped just to kind of clear everything up, make sure your blood works good, and then get some answers on like what will optimize you?
Yeah, so I was taking this brand called On It. It's Joe Rogan's brand. Alpha,
I've
I
heard
took
of it.
Alpha Brain for a while. So it's basically a day pack and a night pack is what I took. So it had like ashwagandha, fish oil, vitamin D, or actually I don't think it had vitamin D, just typical supplements. But I took like a night, day stack, night stack, and then I wanted to get blood work done, or I got blood work done, funny enough, while I was taking them. And I was like, this is silly. I should do it without the blood work. So then I stopped. Um, and then I did it with the blood work and just, or I did it with and then without and
Yeah,
just
yeah,
compare. So now I'm still in the process of getting stuff done. I got some done whatever a while ago, and now I'm just trying to like use diet. And again, it comes back to that point that we made earlier about like how much, spending money on things. Like we all have our own priorities. So you spend money on what you prioritize most. And lately I've been just prioritizing higher quality groceries.
good.
I wanted to ask you about that. Like, so that is the one thing I tend to like stress about still. Do you stress about that at all? Like if it's grass fed, grass finished, if it's raw, not, I mean, like I don't stress if it's
Yeah.
like raw or not raw and stuff like that, but I stress about that. Is that something you're like, because to preface it, I go to the farmer's market every weekend.
hmm
You know,
Hey, yeah, I was gonna say, don't get me wrong. I think the farmers market is where everyone should be. I think you should shop local. You should support your farmers. I think that's a big thing, and it's gonna be a big shift soon. Not only with like political changes and things in our country, but if you've looked into any of the research with like our topsoil being depleted of minerals and things like that, like we're losing farmers, we're losing like nutrient density in our food because of that. And so like
yeah,
I don't know at what point it's gonna really shift. It's gonna have to though. But yeah, personally for me right now, just location wise, it's hard for me to stress that specifically about it just because it's like kind of hard for me to get my hands on like the highest quality things from time to time just because of my access to like the nearest grocery store here is really close to me, but it's not like the highest quality grocery store. It's called Foodland. I don't know if you're familiar with
no,
Hawaii
no, no,
grocery
it's interesting.
called
Okay.
Foodland. It's funny. I mean it has anything you might need, but it's not anything on par with like Whole Foods or a Sprouts or anything like that. And I would prefer to shop there. I go to Whole Foods from time to time. There's one closest one is like 50 minutes from me. So to get groceries there, it's like it's a trip. So it's not a very like it's not every time, maybe once a month, maybe every other month. I'll stock up on some good stuff. I do luckily have a farmer that I get, raw milk from. So, that's a weekly thing I'll get. I spend a little bit more on it for that. Grass-fed beef, I can get it from a couple different sources here as well. But, ti most of the time, not most of the time, but from time to time, like I'll go over to their stock and it's out and it's like, crap. Well, I still need to eat this week.
Yeah.
I'm not gonna not eat, so okay, I'll just go get, just organic ground beef at the grocery store. It's not grass-fed, grass-finished, but it's organic, right? It's better. But good, better, best, right? And so, and I've noticed like at first I was really stressed about it, but the more I started to just like a couple times a week, I wouldn't eat the top tier. And I'm like, oh, I don't feel different. I feel okay, I'm still prioritizing it when I can. I'm saving a little bit of money. I think that's where I would start. Uh,
Mm.
I'm not like telling you to go eat worse food by any means, you know what
Yeah.
I mean? Like, but to lower your stress and anxiety, just, choose a couple meals a week. Like it's okay. Like, if you're having chicken, organic chicken every once in a while, like corn and soy free or free eggs, like, just get the cage free eggs once. And like, if you're okay with it, like, just time to time, like make those changes that are like, don't choose the conventional, like awful stuff. You know what I mean? But if you're not getting the top tier and you're in the middle and you're feeling okay, like find that balance where you're getting both. Does that, I don't know if that
Yeah,
helps
yeah.
you.
No, that resonates with me because I it's something that I have kind of actively been doing where I'm like, certain days I just can't make it to the market or I run out of, underestimate the amount I'll eat and or
Yeah.
I'll travel. So yeah, it's that does resonate and it is helpful because it's something that like I think I was mentioning this to you earlier, like you the fear mongering element where you it causes you more stress because you're consuming something because someone on the internet
Yeah.
may or may not be credible is like, don't eat this because it's gonna kill you or whatever. But um yeah, no, that helps me out. I appreciate you saying that because it's kind of that going back to your point, it's like when it's that progress over perfection basically is what you alluded
Hmm.
to here. So, but
Yeah.
yeah.
I think for me, another big one was just like reiterating, like, man, I used to not even eat like remotely well for years, like all through high school. Like I didn't have any
Yeah.
like, and I was okay. Like the body's resilient. And because you're doing this most of the time, you're even more resilient against some of these things. You know what I mean? Like, let's say you do go out to eat and it is, cooked in seed oils or it is cooked in, or it's not organic. It's not, the highest quality. Like you trust your body, you have these detox pathways and things like you're gonna hop right back on your grass-fed beef the next day and you're gonna be okay. Like your body's gonna get rid of whatever it doesn't need or want. So that's another element I think is that's good is like just you're doing a lot of the good, so you can get away with a little bit more of that in a way.
And it goes back to your point about the blue zones in community. Like that's such an
Yeah.
underrated component of health. I'm sure
Hmm.
blue zones and stuff like that. People in Japan eat seed oils and in the blue zones will eat the seed oils and they're still living, really long and happy lives. So,
Yeah,
but
I think it's like as much as you can, it's whole foods. Like that's my main thing right now. Like people are like, "Oh, what's your diet?" Like I hate that word. I'm a health coach and I hate the word diet. Like I don't use diet. Like I talk about nutrition. What are you feeding yourself? What are you turning like the food you eat is becoming you. What are the building blocks you're putting into yourself to like regenerate yourself? Like what's your nutrition? Whether it be performance for sport or just what are you making yourself out of? Your brain, your body. Like, I wish I would have thought about this sooner, or like other people would too, and talk about this more. Like, as you're growing, especially a child growing, like things like that. What are the building blocks being made out of? Avoid ultra processed food, eat whole foods, and you're gonna be doing so much better than like you ever could imagine.
yeah,
So it's like, yeah, maybe it's not grass-fed, grass-finished beef, but it's still beef. It's a single ingredient food. It's really good.
yeah,
It's not Cheetos. It's not freaking goldfish. You know what I mean?
yeah. Gage, I got one last question for you, and then I'll let you go.
Yeah.
What do you think RFK's impact will be able to be on, the US like food system? Like, do you think I think, or I want to ask you, do you think you'll be able to get, I think high fructose corn syrup is probably one of the worst things we have in America. Do you think he'll really be able to have an impact on eliminating that or kind of just sparking the awareness and like sparking this movement to create change? So I guess overall, what kind of impact do you think he'll be able to have, like in general, on the American food system?
I'm not super political, so I don't follow politics very closely. I like to stay updated, so I know some. But I don't get very passionate. I have some friends that get very passionate about some of these things, and I'm like one of my good friends. He has a bad day if something happens, in an area of politics or something, and
Mm,
obviously you want to be educated and you want to um, be aware, but know that like there's things that like I don't have any control over a lot of this. And so like there's the aspect of like tend to your own garden, you know?
Yeah.
Do the things you can every day for yourself that are going to be able to like set yourself up for success. And I think specifically, I want to answer your question about RFK. Um, I don't think that really anyone's going to be able to make that many big changes themselves. What I do think you hit on though is people are talking about it more now. I notice like people that were never health conscious around me are now asking me questions about specific ingredients in foods or their health. So I think that's going to be the biggest thing. It's just the shift of just people being more aware and just being more educated on what is involved in the processing or in the food or in the additives and things like that. And people are just gonna be more aware of that. And I think that's kind of his message, if I'm not wrong. He just wants transparency. Is that correct?
Yeah, exactly.